Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's special edition of the Newpreneur Cast, the Business Data Series. Now, as always, over the last 4 weeks or so, I've been introducing Blue Ninja, the one and only Louisa Stewart, to share some knowledge, some seeds of information, some insight into the wonderful world of business data. And believe it or not, we're in our fourth episode today, and it's all about using AI in your business. Now, as always, we're live on LinkedIn and we're live on the YouTube channel at the Lee Foster Official site on YouTube. And if you feel appropriate, you have any questions or any feedback you'd like to share with us, please make sure to drop into the comment feed, and especially on YouTube, into the comments in there, and LinkedIn in the comments below as well. So please feel free to drop any comments, some questions in there. And if we see it, I'll give you a shout out at the main, as always, at that time as well. But it's great to be welcoming back our guest speaker for today and for this week is the one and only Louisa Stewart from Blue Ninja for the Business Data Series. Louisa, how are you keeping?
Oh, good. Thanks, Lee. Thanks for having me back again. Just
No,
absolutely loved talking with you, and what a great series that you've got here.
thank you so much, Louisa. Thank you so much. It's been great. I mean, we're doing the last episode today. You've certainly shared a wealth of knowledge and expertise with everybody who's been watching and listening. It's been great to hear about some of the good success stories as well out there that people have been embracing, and also chatting to you separately as well.
Yeah, I've really loved it, and I think there's a wealth of information, but sometimes you feel too busy or you just don't have the capacity to really take it in. But I hope that we've given some little nuggets over the last few episodes that people can take away and take bits of it and just really apply it to their own business.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it's so important to do so. And like I said at the beginning, everybody, if you're watching me and Louisa right now on LinkedIn or on the YouTube channel at Lee Foster Official, please don't hesitate to drop your details in the comments, share your questions, share your feedback. Tell us the things that have worked for you over the last 4 weeks as well. And if you hear anything of interest today, just ask the question. Shy Bens get nothing if they don't ask a question. That's it in there. So absolutely superb. Well, Louisa, should we start things off today? Let's talk a little bit about using AI in the business. And it's such a field. Is it a
Mm.
minefield at the minute, do you think, AI?
Oh, I think it is. I think there's a lot of confusion over what AI really is, and so it'd be great to talk through a little bit about this today. I will caveat that I'm not in any realm an AI expert, but I've been in it enough to be able to give some ideas about how it's being used, its evolution, and hopefully give some tips for the listeners today about how you could start applying AI to your business. So yeah, let's see where we end up.
Brilliant. Love it. Thank you so much. Well, over the last few years, we've seen a massive growth with artificial intelligence within business. But what's the growth like? How do you see the growth at the minute of AI? Where's it started
Mm.
from? Where's it going to in your thoughts?
Yeah, and I think when we refer to AI, it's a branch of computer science that focuses on creating systems that can perform tasks that usually require human intelligence. And I know a lot of people have said AI is going to take jobs, AI is going to completely take over business, but it is a tool. It requires input in order to provide output. So it's not like an AI system can stand alone. It does need someone there to help inform it and guide it to what you're after. So I think when we talk about AI, it is a function. It's something that works with you. Yes, it can streamline a lot of tasks that other people ordinarily could do themselves. That it makes it much faster. But overall, it is a tool, and it's one of the most explosive job areas is being able to do AI prompting, because the more specific you can be in your AI prompting, the better you get your results. So I'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit, but yeah, I mean, it 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 covers things like understanding language, so chatbots, translators, recognizing patterns, so image or speech, making predictions, so it's helping you with forecasting, fraud detection, and it's learning from data. So it's being able to take information and learn from it, which is the machine learning element of AI. Um, I think it's good to go back into sort of how it evolved sort of over the last few years, because it kind of felt like it just arrived. But actually, AI has been developed over a series of years, and was really it sort of was in some system development, but it really was it was called BERT, Google's BERT. I couldn't tell you what BERT stood for, to be honest, but it really revolutionized search understanding. Google's been around for years. I think it came up in 2007, I think. But over the last few years, there's been sort of that advancement into the next level of understanding. So, AI was used in tech, finance, healthcare, and then recommendation engines. But over the last couple of years, we've seen it applied in so many other circumstances, because I think the methodology has caught up to what people want to use it for, and now it's being rolled out at a large scale. So in 2020, 2021, GPT-3 was released, and that was the start of the language model, which was human-like writing. So they've been training ChatGPT models for the last couple of years to understand how people speak, what their expectations are, and that the recognition of to reach human level accuracy in many tasks, which is where we now see AI in the early stages. I think it's like robotics. You see the evolution of robots, and it started from something that was unrecognizable to where it is now. That evolution has taken years, but it's always been taking small parts of it and just perfecting it or tweaking it and making it work in a better way. And that's kind of what AI has done. COVID-19 accelerated tech adoption. People were looking for other ways of developing their products, and AI seemed to be the smartest and most logical way forward. In 2022, generative AI really started. So if you've heard of Midjourney, DALI 2, those text image creations really picked up, and they got put out into the world. So it became it gave people who hadn't really talked or looked at AI before the ability to start using it in
Mm.
mainstream society. Um, and OpenAI's ChatGPT was released in November 2022, and it's been the fastest growing consumer app in history. So we can see sort of the evolution now into 2023, where suddenly Microsoft, Google, software companies like Salesforce had all added AI into their products. And I think we all got a bit of a shock when when you were working with these tools and suddenly the next day it got updated. And not only did they update the AI within the tool, they actually overhauled the tools themselves. So you were seeing, much more customized platforms. It looked different to the way that you were used to seeing it, and also the pricing models changed.
Mm. It, Sorry, go on, go on.
And then of course we have things like the regulation of images. So in Denmark, they've now I think there's a law that's passed that said you cannot use anyone's image, voice, or um, text digitally. So you could be sued if you ever use someone's likeness in AI, to protect people from being, to have their images stolen. Um,
Sure.
and so, you know, up to now, we've seen the scale, speed, and specialization of AI evolve. And
Mm.
I think a lot of business owners almost became overwhelmed by it. I know I did when it first came out. I thought, I'm not going to use this. What is, it seemed like it was too much.
Mm.
I don't know if you felt like that, Lee, when it sort of really hit into your business everyday workings.
I think from my perspective, it's a good question to ask, Louise. And when I looked at it, I wasn't too sure of it at the beginning. I thought, how is that going to work in business? Using ChatGPT, and I got introduced to it from a strategy point of view or campaign ideas, more than I like a sort of a brain swarm or brainstorming ideas type thing. You could put
Mm,
something into it; it'll tell you a different angle. I think how it's developed over the years has been more of a strategy thinker for me, the way it
yeah.
works. And I think that works for many people. Many people use it for different areas, different angles. I think using it as a think tank or sharing like thoughts in here you want to get out and express, it
Hmm.
automatically thinks about, as long as it's learnt about you and your business and it knows how you work, it can be extremely useful. But I
Mhm.
think there's an element at the moment that, not from my perspective, that people use it regularly too much, and they're
Yeah.
just getting in the habit of just relying on it instead of just thinking it's there as an extra supportive tool as such as well. So yeah, good point there, Louisa.
I really agree with you on that. And what I'm finding is that more and more people are just using AI and then just taking that as gospel. And you're like, but I can see that you haven't really thought through what you're trying to say. It's telling me something, I can see that, but it's
Yeah,
not giving me enough to actually put that into the right context.
yeah.
And I think you're absolutely right with that. That um, I wouldn't say that people are becoming lazy with it, but they're certainly kind of going, AI's done that for me. That's easy. I'll just put that
Yeah.
out there without sort of what is that piece of information actually doing for you? Is it conveying the right message? Is it saying how you would say something? Yeah. So I think it's changed. It's changed a lot in terms of the way that you brainstorm. Absolutely. I think it has really benefited business owners in a way that was unprecedented.
Hmm.
But there's that there's that use and abuse that I think we're also recognizing that's creeping in a lot now.
Yeah, it's sort of like the training wheels, and they're not taking the training wheels off on it. They're just keeping them there
Mhm.
because they feel safe and secure by using it. But with not checking it over, if they think of an idea and they want to use something, that's fine. You can put as much as you want into it, but then not proofreading or checking it afterwards to make sure that it's got
Yeah.
echoes of what you're saying and you as an individual. Everyone's learned that, I think, in some way, shape, or form that they have to use now.
Yeah.
Um, you said before about ChatGPT 3,
Mhm.
but what's out there and what does it do? I mean, we're talking about there's lots of stuff out there that we're using, but what does it really do? What's available for us to use as part of that next question for you, Louisa?
Yeah, I mean, yes. So, ChatGPT is up to ChatGPT 4. I think five's coming out, possibly in another month or two.
Wow.
And what it is, it's learning scale. So, it's the evolution of what Chat can do. So OpenAI is the one that I use, and it's because it's gotten to know me, and I got introduced to it by someone else because they said, "Oh, I've been using it for this and I quite like it," and I got into it and went, "Oh, actually, I do too." I've tried other platforms, so you've got Claude, Google's Gemini, Microsoft has Copilot, Meta has something called Llama,
Mm,
Perplexity AI. Like there's a lot of tools out there. I mean, Copilot has been rolled out across everything for Microsoft. You cannot have a Microsoft product now without having Copilot built into it, whether or not you want to use it. So, you have, excuse me, you have circumstances where you can't avoid AI anymore because the systems that you use have it all built in.
mm,
Um, I find that I did try Gemini, I did try Copilot. I went back to ChatGPT because I liked it. I liked the feeling of how I used it the most. And I think if you ask someone what they're using, you'll probably get a different answer because people find what they like from them. And then
mm,
they want to stay in those platforms because it's that machine learning elements coming in. It's working out how you talk about your business, your tone, your voice. When you mention a word, you don't have to then explain it over and over again because it's already explained it once and it goes, I know what you mean by that. I have context. So the platform you use is also going to be sort of there for the long term. Um, I know that you've got paid platforms, you've got free platforms. I always recommend just go to a free platform and get a feel for it. Um, just start asking questions into it and see how you get a feeling for it. I think that's the best way to start with them.
mm.
I'm going to go through a few areas just because I want to give some drop some names essentially so
Yeah,
people kind of know what's out there. So I've got what have I got, five areas that I'm going to talk about and just give you a few platforms that you could use. so
cool.
for so for image generation, I think a lot of people have heard about Mid Journey. It's one of the best for high quality stylized AI art. You see a lot of a lot of images on social media now, and sometimes you have to check if they're real or not. But if it is a if it's a cat, um, jumping off a diving board at the Olympic Games, it's not real. But these sorts of things, it comes out now. DALI is another one. That's the OpenAI's system. It's built into ChatGPT. There's another one called Stable AI, Adobe Firefly, and Leonardo AI. So those are just a few of image generations. For video, you've got Runway, Pika, Synthesia, HeyGen, which have voice cloning technology in them. So you could actually have a video that runs. And for people who are very shy on camera, these might be great for you to be able to put out your content in a way that's conveying your message in maybe a resource that you've not tried before. There's also Luma AI, which has cinematic video generation. I would caveat by saying the people that do this as their jobs, they have a reason they're doing it. They're very talented in creativity and being able to develop a visual representation of something. You're not going to get that if you go into a video generation tool and type in something and it's going to produce exactly what you're thinking in your head. Um,
Mhm.
so caveat these by saying, yes, they're there to help you, but they still need guidance of what you need. And if you're not very good with videos or with creatively developing videos, chances are you're not going to get that professional video that you think you're going to create just by trying to use a tool like this.
Yeah,
That's what professionals are still there for.
love
Um,
it.
AI and music generation, there's 11 Labs, Mirth, Ava, Suno AI, Voice Mod, and what these are giving you is I don't know, there's a guy called Greg Friel, and he's absolutely divine. And anytime with Greg, he gets on a call and he has this huge booming microphone. He goes, in a world, he starts off with this beautiful voiceover. A lot of this can do that sort of thing for you now. It can create realistic voiceover technology from
Mm,
scripts. I did try one of these and I had it try to say, it was a historical script that I had, and it had a Chinese historical figure, and
right.
it just couldn't say it. So there's still a little bit from being able to be, I guess, dialectically correct. Um,
Hmm.
but they've come a long way, I think, as well, for people to be able to use something that then they could overlay
Yeah.
um, on things. Then you've got things that they're multimodal, so they have a lot of different elements. So they have text, image, audio. You can create quite a lot within those. So Google Gemini, Claude, um, GPT-4 have those multimodal things. So you don't have to go to multiple places to develop something. And then lastly, I know we're at the end of this little bit, there's 3D in design. And so that's something like Kadim, Spline AI, and Masterpiece Studio. And Masterpiece is the virtual reality 3D asset elements. So these are
Hmm.
trying to generate 3D images. So it's turning a 2D image into a 3D image and then being able to utilize that in design. So I know I've thrown a lot at you there. I just wanted to give people a glimpse of the different tools that they either may have heard of or they could have a look at. Um, a lot of these aren't free. You need to pay a licensing fee to use them. But it's always nice to just have a play around and see what you like and what you actually don't like. Because a lot of them I've tried and I just didn't get a feel that I enjoyed it. So I stepped away from them and went, I'm not ready for this yet.
Yeah. It's interesting to hear about all those different areas you can use from Mid-Journey to many other places that have a different aspect and element to each other's businesses. But one
Mm,
of the big things I've noticed is how can you embrace or how can you start using AI in your business if you're just
mm.
starting off? What would be your advice on that one, Louisa?
Yeah, I think generating a bit of content is the easiest way to start. So try using an AI tool which is most accessible. So Copilot, ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini. And then you need to prompt it. So you're going to start with a prompt. And I've got an example for a business owner to maybe help them to generate a blog post, for instance. So here's an example of something that you could put into an AI tool to then prompt it to provide you with something. So I'm going to read this out because I need to be specific in how it reads. So bear with me on this. You are an experienced small business mentor writing for first time entrepreneurs. Create a 1,000-word blog post titled 10 Practical Tips for Running a Successful Small Business. Use clear, non technical language in a friendly but professional tone. Structure the blog post as follows: short, engaging introduction that relates to the user's journey, 10 numbered tips, each with a short, punchy subheading, 2 to 3 paragraphs of practical advice, and one short, real world example where possible. And then three, a motivating conclusion that encourages the reader to take action. I haven't finished yet. Make the advice relevant to service based small businesses with limited budgets. Avoid jargon, keep sentences concise, and ensure each tip is actionable. End the article with a question to invite reader comments. So
Well,
that is a very basic prompt for a blog post. So it's given you your audience, it's given you how many words to write, it's given it structure for how you want that to be presented, the tone that you want, a call to action. So all of those things, it's quite a simple thing. But if you had have written, give me 1,000 word blog on running a successful small business, the output of that would be very different to what I've just read out.
mhm.
So I think in the world of prompts, you need something that is like giving directions to a very literal assistant. The more clear, specific, and contextual you can be, the better your results will be.
Yeah, I like that.
And then in your prompts, you could then start to refine it and say, um, "That's great. Can you do more with this?" Or, "Oh, I like the way you frame that. Can you use that more?" So that's that machine learning thing coming in again, where it starts to get to know what you like, and so down the line, as it has learnt your tone, it might then apply that without you having to ask it to do that, because it now knows that that's the style you're expecting.
That's really interesting, especially in the way you how you're using your business, but also how it explains who your business is, and also how it explains to bring a blog together as well. Because
Mm,
I think people overthink it, but just putting the skeleton in there, it can spit out what you're trying to get at as well. And I think that's so important that's in there.
mm,
Um, as we're coming into the sort of like the tail end of today's sort of episode as such, really, Louisa, you know, you've given a great tip on there how to start using AI in your business,
mhm.
but then going into the likes of the practical suggestions, for using AI, the practical step-by-step guidance. What would that be from your perspective, Louisa?
I'll give you some examples based on what I have done. So things like preparing for these interviews with you, I made sure that I had specific talking points that were completely on topic, that I wasn't going to waffle off into an area which I know previously, if I feel like I've got a hook, I might then jump off on it and I will lose people. So it's given me structure and order to how I talk to you, and I found that quite valuable to me, to make sure that I stayed on topic, on target, and with information that I think would be valuable to listeners. So um, I use it for video scripts. So I've got a tool called Big View, and what it is, it will transcribe a video and then it will read it on screen as I'm talking. And so I use AI to help me to generate the script content. I edit that and then I release it as a video. I've used it for some social media content. So if I'm looking for a month's worth of social media content, I'll start to say to it, "Here are my topics. I would like you to give me five social media posts that contain this, have a call to action." And then it gives me another scope to then I go into Canva and then design my designs based on what the topic is. I will refine it to make sure that it is in line with what my business objectives are, looking at the goals. We've talked about data and goals. I use it to help me be inspired for blog writing, but I use a copywriter, because I feel like the way that AI is being generated and treated now, it's like we don't need copywriters, we don't need those specialists who write to do things for us, because we've got these tools now. But the tool doesn't know me like a copywriter. It can't sit down and have an hour's conversation with me on a topic and then give me something that is so articulate to the message that I want to convey. Um, it might in future, but it doesn't right now. So I caveat this by saying, take it with a pinch of salt, use it in some ways, but please never put out anything that you do not edit yourself and it doesn't have meaning to what you're trying to apply. So get a feel for it, see what's right for you. Um, but I think if you're not using it very much right now, I don't think AI is going to go away.
No.
So it is good to get a feel for how it works, but don't be scared of it. I think, ask it a question, see what it gives you back, because sometimes it's just that dialogue that gets you used to something.
Yeah.
Um, I think to end, oh, I wanted to say, have you heard of the M dash?
No.
It's something that AI uses a lot. It's the long dash that is
Oh,
used
that
for
dash.
emphasis. Yes, it's called an M dash. And I realize how unfortunate it is because writers actually also use the M dash, and so people are saying, "Oh, that's a Chat GPT text or something, or that's AI text," and actually it's because the writers always use M dashes. So and it was the style that AI had learnt in those years of development as making, it's how it made a point, it's how it flowed a sentence, etc.
Yeah.
It's not all that common for people to speak or write that way, but M dashes just seem to be so common in AI.
Mhm.
So, and also its overuse of emojis. The amount of times I've seen
Yes.
copy and it's like covered in emojis, and you're like, oh, so you didn't edit that then? Okay.
Take it out or take something. It's handy enough to have in there if you want to explain something as a communication tool.
Hmm.
And sometimes some of the emojis that they use in it are quite handy to have in there if you want to get a point across.
Yeah.
And it's nice to keep them in. But it's just double checking it and make sure it's in the right place. So
It
yeah,
is. And I'll end by caveating that, AI is environmentally damaging. We've seen it in the news, the starting to talk about the impact, even the things like thank you, thanking your AI, because we're all terrified if we don't, it will come down and get us later on. But as a community for using AI, for content, how sustainable can it be? And I want people to think about that at the end of this, that yes, we're excited by it and we're using it to drive it forward, but what impact will that have on us in 10 to 20 years? I
correct.
think that's what the fear is of AI at this point. It's not that it's going to take over the world, but actually we might not have a world because of it.
I think it's not just even that as well. It's stopping people talking to one another sometimes, and
Yeah.
it's that social experience. I talked about that today with a few people in Stirling, which I'm at today, really, and it's about that social interaction. It's
Mm,
making it a lot easier for people to send a message by not feeling like it's them or coming across as them. And we've all learned it, Louisa. We've all learned in some way, shape, or form. We've all used it in some way in our
mhm.
business that we want to try and give it a go, but sometimes it doesn't come across as you, and you learn the hard way for that.
You do. You
And
do.
you
And
go,
yeah, and I think as well that it's helpful for designing, as you said, brainstorming. It's good for designing a plan of attack. So strategically using AI is quite good, but please don't make it the only thing that you use, because you've still got a brain. You went into business for a reason, and that's what people want from you, is your expertise. It doesn't want
you,
ChatGPT or Claude's expertise. It wants yours. So
correct.
please bear that in mind as business owners, that what is your objective of using it, and making sure that it doesn't surpass your own sense of what your values are, because you know that's who you are, and it's not what AI is going to hopefully tell people about you.
Very true indeed, Louisa. Very true indeed. There's some good points you've raised there today, and a lot of information that was shared, and especially from making a start, looking at the platforms, the sort of AI
Mm.
um, areas that we can use quite regularly in our business, and how they have a different feel in each thing that we want to use, not each thing that we want to use as well. Thank you so much for being part of these special episode series, Louisa.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed every second of it, Lee. I must say, I hope people have got a lot out of it, and we've really brought them from understanding data to really making it enhance their business practices.
Yeah, and please, everybody, if you are online with us right now or rewatching this back again and watching the episodes, you'll find them all on the YouTube channel under the playlist of the Newpreneur cast. They'll be underneath there's the special edition. It's in there as well with Louisa Stewart from Blue Ninja. But it's all been about the business data series. Each episode's got some sort of golden nugget or treasure that you can pick up and implement into your business, or maybe even answer a question or two for you that's out there, even if you're just in startup mode of your business, or if you're well established for 5, 6, 10, 15 years into your business. You'll pick something new up there or remind you as a refresher from Louisa's expertise and knowledge that she shared with us over the last 4 weeks. For me and Louisa, don't forget, go to the YouTube channel. Watch back at the episodes. All the episodes are on there as well. And again, for us both, we hope you've enjoyed every single episode who have been following us so far. And stay tuned. There'll be many more Newpreneur Cast special episodes coming very soon, which I'm working on behind the scenes. But if you've got any questions in the meantime, please reach out to Louisa. You'll find her on LinkedIn, or you can send a message to her. I would highly recommend that you do so. Anything you've got, just start the conversation, because do you know what? Opportunities are discovered through having many conversations with people, being able to sort of really tap into each other's knowledge and expertise. It's all about the education. And if you implement it the right way, some magical things really start to happen. So thank you so much for watching the Newpreneur Cast special edition with Blue Ninja and the one and only Louisa Stewart. So that way or this way.
Thank you so much, Lee, and yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for listening and watching. And as I said, as Lee said, I hope you've got a lot out of it, because we certainly have.
100%. Thanks again, everybody. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you very soon. Bye-bye for now.